Okay, yes, sir. You know, look at that. We've got a brand new rug on the floor. I think it looks really great. You know, it doesn't exactly match the wall, but yeah, man. You know, but I will say it is very, very, very soft, guys. It's very soft, very luxury quality. Um, my mom actually bought it for me. So obviously, props to her. But it is honestly so soft, you know. But yeah, you know, I am feeling great right now. I won't even lie to you guys. I mean, look at the physique. Why wouldn't I be feeling it? We're great. Let's start off there. You know, why wouldn't I not be feeling great? You know, look at the physique. Anyway, enough of that. I've literally just had a whole session just listening to music, just enjoying myself, dancing in my room, just, you know, on my ones. That's what it's all about. You know, it's important to be able to do that. You know, and honestly, I feel great. You know, I've just been here. I was literally just watching the Hamza video. You know, I was just watching the Hamza video. I was like, you know what? Let me make some content on my own because I do have a message for you guys. You know, but yeah, honestly, you know what? Let me take you guys to the bathroom. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You already know. You already know. Look at this. Look at this. You know what I mean? Absolutely incredible. And fucking incredible, you know? But look at this shit. Look at this shit right here. Beautiful. Just look. You've got a goddamn pillow in the bathtub. You know? This is beauty, you know? Like what even is this? You know, I only see these in you know the biggest athletes, footballers and boxers bathtubs. You know, once they're doing their rehabilitation, you know, and whatnot. But you know, we got fucking bidet in the bathroom. Like, bro, you know, this is quality. You know, but what probably my favorite part is a beautiful mirror. You know, come here every morning and do my morning routine. Morning routine. You already know why I'm laughing. Oh, let me just get the ice water and dip my face in. You know, you ain't gonna wake up that early to do that, guys. Obviously, you know, no shade to that guy. You know, he's really doing his thing. Obviously, no shade to anyone. You know, I don't hate on anyone. I only take what I can, what is good, what I can benefit from, and go on about my life. But yeah, honestly, I really do value my physique, and in due time, I'll help some of you attain something similar. You know, but for the most part, fall in love with the floor. Fall in love with the floor and gravity. Okay, because with those two, you can conquer just about anything. But anyway, I'm about to get started with the video, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching up until now. Let's go. And we're back. Okay, just a quick side note, because of the type of video that this is, there are going to be a significantly larger amount of cuts in this video compared to the rest of mine. Just to let you know, it's not like I'm sort of doing other things mid-video or something crazy like that. Trust me, I'm still dialed in and focused, making sure I'm giving you guys the content, the quality content that you deserve. And yeah, just to let you know. But yeah. Okay then, so just a quick message. If you want to reach high places, right, hard to reach places in life, right, what you need to do is you need to evaluate how difficult your life is right now. I'm actually going to turn that down. All right, now you can actually hear me. You know what I mean? You need to evaluate how hard your life is right now. And what I don't get is people like this, maybe people like you, sort of making excuses as to why they shouldn't be the man that they need to be. You feel where I'm coming from? You should never be making excuses. You need to be the person who has the no matter what attitude, you know, and understand that your future will be entirely dependent on the decisions you make today, you know? So just have that accountability and ask yourself, what have I done today? What have I done today? You know, if you want to compare with someone else that you look up to, well, you can do so, but just be real with yourself. You know, you need to have that conversation. The difference between me getting the job and not getting the job is just me going to the interview or phoning them up and telling them, yo, I need this job. But whether I'm in the position to actually get the job or not will only be dependent on me taking action in the moment. If I don't do anything in the present moment, then I won't get the job, right? And you can use that job as an analogy, right? That whole sort of segment as an analogy. And you can replace the job for any goals you have in life, right? Any aspirations, places you want to go to, things you want to do, achievements you want to accomplish. You can swap that in for the job I was describing, right? If you don't show up today, if you don't do what's required today, you're not going to see it tomorrow, okay? And it's the little things. It's like a compound interest. Little deposits, day by day by day by day. They accumulate over time, and you might not see it today or tomorrow or next week or next month or next year. You might not see it, you know? And that's why there's so little at the top. It's because people don't make it there. They you know, they fall short, and they don't have that belief. They don't have that grit and determination, so they don't actually make it. You might not see it tomorrow. If we want to talk about the past, I'll simply tell you that all of your previous actions have led you to be where you are right now. If I were to have, for example, attacked anyone in the past who had wronged me, right, and acted upon that impulse, I would not be here right now. I would be in a jail cell, right, for however long, serving time, okay, as I rightly should have been, right, because that's a crime. The same thing applies for the lottery winners, okay? They would not be sitting on the millions that they are had it been they did not go and scratch that scratch card. You feel me? Now, obviously, those have immediate sort of knock-on effects, right? But obviously, those are just examples, right? But stay with me, right? See, people of today, they're sort of so stuck on living in the present, right? And if you know me, you'll know that that's a term I use quite often, right? And I don't care. I'm taking it as my own, right? I'm coining it, coining the term. It's mine, okay? And it's just simply people are living for today and not for tomorrow. Now, the magic starts not next week or tomorrow when you decide to actually get on your shit. No, not then. But the magic starts today. That's when the spell with my magic wand, that's when the spell starts. But the physical manifestation of your daily hard work comes much later on. Okay. Now, obviously, depending on what you're doing and depending on this, and there are different factors, right, that come into play that will determine when you see results, what results you see. Sometimes the results you see might not be the results you're looking for, okay? These are just different factors, okay? This is naturally why delayed gratification, I'm so big on it, okay? Because what does this do? You train like a muscle, your body, to understand that, you know what, I'm okay with putting in the hard work now, these daily deposits. I'm okay with it, okay? Because I know at the end of the line, at the end of the road, all right, at the end of the rainbow, there's a reward waiting for me, ready for me to collect, okay? and you teach your body to not rely on instant dopamine. You know what I'm trying to say? You teach your body that hard work is just as enjoyable as instant gratification. Delay it. Delay the gratification. And your body will reward you. Your mind will reward you. And regarding that, I truly believe like the test of life is about seeing how hard you can work today without seeing immediate results tomorrow. You understand? How much grit and toil. Toil is another word for hard, like working hard, right? But how much can you do today without seeing results immediately? How much hard work can you do? Because there are plenty of, useless things that you can do today, right now. And it won't take even an hour for you to see the impact of doing that thing. Okay. But how much discipline, how much hard work can you go through, and still stay level-headed and grounded and understanding that it's going to be better later on. It's gonna get better. You understand where I'm coming from? And the key piece of information is that you must fall in love with the journey, okay? Because the journey is what gets you the future that you want. And if you don't get there, if you don't get that future that you wanted, then maybe it was all about the friends that we made along the way. You know? Nah, man. But honestly though, you have to fall in love with the journey. And that actor, that businessman, that footballer, I know a lot of you might want to become athletes or such, right? That fitness influencer, that marketer, right? He wouldn't be nobody if not for the journey. They wouldn't be nobody. You wouldn't know them. You wouldn't know their faces. You wouldn't know their names. What does your journey look like? I mean, it's in your hands, okay? Look, you might be saying to yourself, my journey looks terrible, little soy boy, small. My journey is terrible. I live a boring life. And you start crying to yourself, like, grow the fuck up, It's the ball is still in your hands, okay? You have time. You don't have time, but you have time, right? What does your journey look like? Take control of it and make it count. Do with the journey what you must. Do with the journey what you need to. But all I'm saying is you must start now. Start it today, okay? Because your future self will thank you for it. Now listen up, because I'm going to ask you the question again, and I'm going to pause for around 20 seconds or so, just to spark that mental cue, I'll call it, in your mind, to sort of have that question and conversation with yourself, right? And be truthful. Think about what you need to change, what you need to start doing, okay? This is how we're taking actionable steps to revolutionize the kind of future you're going to have, okay? So yeah, let me ask you, what does your journey look like? Okay. Now, hopefully you've thought properly, right? And if you meditate, I'm sure it would have been a lot easier for you to really, just sit there with yourself and think. And a lot of these successful figures that you'll look up to actually came from disadvantaged backgrounds, right? And isn't that funny? You know, sometimes you might think, oh, maybe they just had a better background than me. Maybe they came from money. Maybe they already had all these things given to them, so it made it easier. No, it was pretty much the opposite. Okay. Sometimes I'll look at my own life and I'll say to myself, damn, I'm so unlucky to live such a lucky life. You know. And it might sound funny, but essentially it just means, you know, that pressure makes diamonds. Okay. If you live a life and there's no pressure, everything is bliss, sunshine and rainbows. Your parents give you £100 every week. Here, son, go and do with this money as you please. You know, if you live that sort of lifestyle, you wouldn't have much urgency to change your position or improve your position, would you? Naturally, you wouldn't. You know, and I'm not saying I live that lifestyle. Trust me, I don't. You know, I might have a sort of, you know, a nice home and a nice family. We live in a nice area, right? Especially, and I'm always grateful, but because if you see the lives people are living out there, they would just to live something similar. You know, I'm always grateful, but you know, where you come from, sorry to say, but it can directly affect where you go and your trajectory. One day, okay, you're gonna have to talk about the journey that you have lived, the things you've done, the things you've went through, trials and tribulations, right? Obstacles that you've overcome in order to get to wherever you will be in future, okay? Obviously, if you don't amount to anything, nobody will really care. But, you know, granted. And you just need to have that serious conversation with yourself again. And with that, I'll wrap off that previous question, which was, what does your journey look like? Now, if you come from a more wealthy background, understand that all this means is you have more of a currency. And I say a currency in particular because it's not always about how much money you have, or it's not only about how much money you have, because you'll find that there are successful families out there, right, that within their offspring, meaning their children, have grown up and have managed to successfully make it big, not because of the financial backbone that their parents had supplied them with, but actually because of the knowledge that had been passed down from the parents, who probably got it from their parents, down through to their children. Okay, and even in the way in which they live their lives are of an upper echelon compared to the average person. You understand where I'm going with this? Now, let's say I lived in one of those families, right, very wealthy, right? And I had a friend who were to ask me, Michael, would you rather that your parents give you 100 grand right now? Bear in mind, you can do a lot with 100 grand. This goes without saying, but 100 grand is a large sum of money, right? If you were to ask me, Michael, would you rather your parents give you 100 grand or that they teach you all they know? You know which one I would pick? I would pick the latter. I would pick for the option that they teach me everything that they know. Okay. Now then, gents, if there's one actionable step I want you to take from this video, it's the ability to reap as much value from people as possible. Okay, train yourself to be able to make the conversations you have with people around you as valuable as possible, meaning we're asking the right questions about specific things. Perhaps one of your family members or someone who you just interact with, okay, they've recently just purchased a new vehicle, okay, and you don't drive. This is an example, okay, you can tailor it to your life. just ask them questions. You know, how did the whole process go down? You know, what medium are you using to pay monthly for the insurance? There are many different kinds of questions. You know, just try and ask different questions from the people in which you meet every day. It could be, you know, teach yourself, because trust me, one day you're gonna meet a millionaire. One day you're gonna meet someone who has all these traits and characteristics and knowledge, you know, basically valuable stories that they can share with you, and they can really truly change your life. But if you're not able to sort of use your tongue as the key to unlock that lock, you're not going to be able to open the chest and receive the rewards. Okay, so I want you to today, with the people who you interact with, teach yourself to, you know, get value from these conversations. And you'll know if you do, because they might tell you something that they wouldn't have otherwise told you had it not been for you to ask the question. Okay, and as for that, I'll see you guys in a future video. Take care.